Straw Hut Media.
We're guessing, because that's what we do, right, KK? That Bunny is a nickname. So if you had an animal nickname, what would it be and why?
Oh my God. If I don't know, maybe koala. And I think that's aspirational. I don't think I've ever seen a koala with a care in the world. And that's the goal someday.
Who are we? We're a couple of true crime aficionados.
Kind of like Charles, Oliver, and Mabel, the three main characters in the Hulu original show, Only Murders in the Building, now in season 2.
And we're here making a podcast about a show where the characters make their own podcast about a murder.
Why are we here? To solve a murder.
Oh, yeah. And to try to figure out who the killer is before all is revealed in the season finale.
We may not be in the Arconia ourselves, but we'll get some inside information from members of the cast and crew and clues to help us piece it all together.
Today, we'll be talking to the writer of episode 3, Ben Smith, as well as Jayne Houdyshell, who plays Bunny Folger and also voices Mrs. Gambolini.
Plus, we'll hear from showrunner and co-creator Jayne Hoffman and Bunny's buddy Uma, played by Jackie Hoffman.
We'll learn what the original plan was for episode 3, whether Bunny would have ever really moved to Boca Raton, and we'll dive into this mysterious relationship with Ivan, the waiter.
As of now, we've seen the first 3 episodes, so listeners beware. We're going to give a quick recap. If you haven't watched, hit the pause button, stream episode 3 right now, and come back so we don't spoil anything for you.
Episode 3, KK, this is exciting. Charles, Oliver, and Mabel are trying to figure out who killed Bunny, and they use the papers they found in her apartment to recreate her last day. Here's how that day went down.
Bunny is looking at a pamphlet for Boca Raton, which means she's thinking about moving to Florida.
She's practicing her retirement speech. She's planning on retiring as board president of the Arconia.
The trio is celebrating catching Tim Kono's killer with some of their superfans and other residents of the building when Bunny comes over and shuts it down.
We see her talking a lot with Nina Lynn, her successor.
Nina's got it down. It seems like Bunny's taught her everything she knows.
After a sweet moment with Uma, Bunny gets a phone call from someone.
Hello? Oh, it's you. No, I do not want to talk about the painting. Stop calling!
Very suspicious.
We meet Ivan, a waiter at the Pickle Diner that she seems to have a close relationship with. He asks her if her friend will be joining her. She says, that wasn't my friend.
Also suspicious.
Bunny's last board meeting does not go as she planned, and she decides that she's not really ready to step down.
Nina Lynn is angry. They argue.
After that, she hears the sounds of Charles, Oliver, and Mabel celebrating, and she decides to bring over some champagne as a peace offering.
It's a vulnerable moment. They don't invite her in, and they could have saved her life.
Yeah. We'll never know. There's a knock on her door. She opens it.
What the fuck do you want?
No, let go of me! Let go of me!
There's a struggle, and Bunny's dead.
Bye-bye, Bunny. We talked to the writer of episode 3, Ben Smith, who joined us all the way from Alaska. Yay!
Yes.
Hi, Ben. Hi, Ben.
Hello.
Ben also co-wrote episode 6, so we'll hopefully have him back in a few weeks.
How is this season compared to last season for you?
Let's see. Well, I think, coming back for season 2, especially on a murder mystery, I'd say there were like certain new challenges and things that were easy. The challenges, I think, were like coming up with like a new big story. I feel like we kind of set these expectations for a big mystery, and we're trying to outdo ourselves, do something big, twisty. We're aware of a smart audience. So, like you're trying to like play chess,
Right.
And we kind of like left some puzzle pieces at the end of last season that we had to resolve. We didn't already have all the answers when we finished last season. So that was kind of like obviously the challenge. But I think what made it really easy and has been really fun about the show, and always is nice coming back for season 2, is the show better, the characters better. I find it incredibly easy to write dialogue for these characters, and for Steve and Marty and Selena in particular. Their voices and their characters are so fleshed out to me. So I think the challenge is always like, okay, breaking the story and figuring out all the specific moves. Once we've decided on them, I find it very easy to execute. And I think that's kind of been the big difference in this season is once we know what we want, it's easy to do.
But just because the characters have clear voices and personalities, it doesn't mean they can't surprise us.
So it is fun to kind of be like, okay, well, we've done the work of meeting the characters. What's something new about the characters that the audience doesn't know yet? Let's see a different side of them. So we've laid all the groundwork, and now you can kind of peel back some new layers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the scene when Bunny ruins the trio's party with their fans? They're outside by the water fountain with the cake and everything.
Yeah. I mean, the whole overarching idea of the episode was to dimensionalize and humanize Bunny and her character, and both the audience and our trio kind of see her in a new light. And so that was kind of our first interaction with the trio that day. And so we kind of wanted to start it, at least in my mind, of like, this is how they view her all the time. She's coming in, she's no fun, she's ruining things, kind of consistent with their view of her. And by the end of the episode, that view has evolved. So we wanted to start in a very clear place, but we also wanted to devise a scene that showed, even though she was difficult and a pain in their ass, there's a reason behind everything. She has rules. She knows all the rules of the building. There is a history behind these rules, even if they're frustrating. And we also wanted to create a thing where you can build suspects. And the whole idea is throughout the episode, obviously, we're building suspects. She's mean to our trio. She has a confrontation with the super fans. She's tough on Lester and Ursula,
and gut milk.
And gut milk. So we want to use that scene to accomplish many things. So those were kind of all the different things we were juggling there.
And some of those Arconia rules include public flogging.
Yes.
Well, who doesn't? I mean,
they do need a little updating.
Yeah, the charter could use a little update.
Yeah.
Kind of tying into what you were just saying, this episode, we finally get to know Bunny. Why do you think it's important that we get to know her? And can you tell us a little bit about her?
Well, actually, to go behind the curtain a little bit, this was not the original episode that was written. We as a room broke an episode, and, we all came up with it. I went off and wrote it. It was a whole different episode. It was still driven by the bird. It was more investigative. The bird had some type of perspective information. They were pursuing the art stuff separately. There was a whole different story. And then we kind of stopped and we're 3 episodes into a season with a new murder victim that we don't know very well.
Here's showrunner and co-creator Jayne Hoffman elaborating on that.
I thought it was very intriguing for us to look back at her last day, particularly to find clues in there, brush up against clues, and more importantly, and most importantly, and probably number one at the reason why that episode is where it is and why we dove into that episode is because it could be easy for a character like that, who everyone kind of in general hated, including our trio last season, and to not feel so much about them, but to invest our trio in a sort of new take on Bunny, as we all have many sides to ourselves, to realize a certain humanity and kinship with Bunny and appreciation for Bunny and what she had been trying to do. And then the double down reveal of what they did and why Bunny is in that tie-dyed hoodie. After many would wonder that at the end of season 1, to learn that our trio gave it to her at this moment when they could have potentially invited her in and could have potentially saved her life in that moment by doing it. That felt to me like a fairly explosive and very poignant moment to reveal that they have all been hiding privately out of embarrassment and guilt and shame. That fact from the cops, from each other. They couldn't even talk about that moment amongst themselves earlier on in that episode. And so that moment felt like the moment for all of them to invest in a very fresh way with the very right kind of thinking as far as defending and finding justice for Bunny. knowing what that last night of hers was like.
It was really sad, that interaction between Bunny and Charles, Oliver, and Mabel.
Yeah, it was. And we'll talk more about that scene later on. But by the end of the episode, Bunny really does feel like a real person, right? She's got her morning exercise routine, her breakfast cart buddy.
Yeah, that she'll never get to catch a game with.
Myself and Steve Markley and Pete Swanson, we were all like, she's got to be a Knicks fan. Like, we're basketball people. She's got to be a Knicks fan. It's like, okay, that's one detail. And someone else is like, has this relationship with Florida. It's like, okay, great. We have that. Like, this is the diner she always go to. It's like, what are all these like specific New York things that we see around the city and like what your day is? And we kind of all just like spitballed.
But none of that would have really mattered without a great actress to bring all those details to life. You're in New York right now?
I am.
Excellent.
I'm down in Union Square.
This is, of course, the incredible Jayne Houdyshell, who plays Bunny and also voices the one and only witness of Bunny's murder, Mrs. Gambolini.
And KK, Jayne is a Tony Award-winning Broadway actor, and I've actually been a really big fan of hers for a really long time.
She's great. And we learned that she didn't find her way onto Only Murders through a traditional audition process.
It was much easier than that for me. When I did the play Well on Broadway in 2006, there was an actor in the play called Jayne Hoffman, who is, of course, one of the creators and showrunner and executive producers of Only Murders in the Building. But from 2006 until Only Murders going to production, John and I have kept up a very close and precious friendship over the years. He's in LA, I'm in New York, but whenever he'd come into New York, he'd always see me in whatever show I was doing. And over the years, he would always say to me on our visits, he'd say, Jayne, you know, I'm somewhere down the road, I'm going to have a project that you're going to be right for. And I can't wait for us to be able to work together again, et cetera, et cetera. And I always said, yeah. Thanks a lot, John. That'll be great. But lo and behold, when Only Murders was in development and it looked like it was going to go, John called me out of the blue and said, hey, listen, I think this project that I'm working on is going to happen. And there's a character in it that I would love for you to play. And I hope you'll be interested when it happens. And so that's how Bunny Folger came into my life.
Well, I'm glad. They should just offer. You should get offered everything, Jayne. Just offered all over the place.
That was an easy process.
Yeah, it was. It was a sweet deal. I'll say that.
Exactly.
I will also say that the character of Bunny, who she is, was a huge gift for me as an actor because as a character actor, I always like doing roles that are departure from who I am and on some level. And I love playing a wide range of roles, and I've never played anyone exactly like Bunny Folger before. So I am forever grateful to all the people at Only Murders for entrusting me with such a beautiful character.
One of the most surprising things we learned about Bunny during this episode is that she's actually quite a generous person. And we see that in her relationship with Ivan, the waiter at the Pickle Diner.
I mean, she's fond of Ivan, and he's been kind to her, and he's always happy to see her. And that interaction that she has on an almost daily basis and coming into her usual diner and ordering the usual thing and being treated with deference and respect. And I think sometimes, genuine affection by this waiter has been a significant and meaningful moment in her days for a lot of years. And so the fact that she gives him quite a lot of money, I think she feels like that's all she can give, I mean, that's what she has. I got some money. I'm going to give you some money. I'm going to give that kid some money so he can do something and get something nice for himself.
Yeah.
Is there any non-suspicious reason why she would give an envelope of cash to her waiter?
Is there a non-suspicious? Isn't it to support his dreams?
Yeah. You say DJ, we say
I will say that it's not the last time we've seen that character.
Food for thought from writer Ben Smith.
Ah, yes. How much more of him will we see?
I'm not sure, but I have a little theory about him and that envelope of money.
Oh, let's hear it.
I'll tell you after this break.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about Ivan, the waiter from the Pickle Diner, and Keener was going to tell us her theory.
Hear me out, all right? What if the money in the envelope is from Bunny selling her original Rose Cooper painting?
Oh, but Uma said that the painting was in the apartment the day before her death.
Yes, but that might have been the reproduction. What if Bunny secretly sold the painting to get some cash so that she could buy a place in Florida, gave some of the money to Ivan, and then had a copy of the painting made so that no one would know?
Someone would have to know, though, and you'd think if anyone did, it would be Uma, her friend.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, it's just a theory, KK. Jeez. All right, but you're right. And even though Uma is only in this episode briefly, we get a clear sense of how important their relationship was to one another. Here's Jayne.
Uma is definitely kind of the key friend in her life in the building. And I always assume, because of their comparative relative age, that they've probably been dear, dear friends for perhaps since childhood. You know, I mean, I think they go way back. They have a kind of familiarity and flippancy and way of relating to one another that, to me, speaks of people that have known each other for decades and decades.
Jayne, who I can't with how perfect she is.
Here's Jackie Hoffman, Uma.
So you could tell they were really friends. And I think that soft Uma, like the one person who brings out any kindness or compassion or warmth in Uma, is Bunny. So I think they were real. They didn't have many other people, so they had each other.
Florida? Really? You?
Why not me? Why can't I try life as a snowbird?
I have a cousin in Tallahassee.
And?
Hey, he sweats a lot. He's got a fungus in his armpits he can't get rid of.
Is that your cute way of saying you don't want me to go?
No, go. You know, I have a key. Maybe I'll go into your place and wear all your stuff.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. Okay, I'm this way.
You know, it felt disingenuous to have either of them be too saccharine and sweet in that moment, but their version of being sweet is like, you know, fuck you. Like that's
flipping the New York for lovable.
That's how they say they love each other.
That's their affection.
That's their affection. That's as much as it's going to be. That's writer Ben Smith again. And when we talked to him, we wanted to know from his perspective if he had any questions for Jayne.
And he did.
I'm pretty curious, when she started working on episode 3, how much the character kind of like matched her own
backstory.
Kind of previous interpretation of the character, how much was like new and exciting, or what kind of felt naturally like, yes, that's right, or kind of, okay, I hadn't thought about that, but obviously I can make that work.
I always had a very keen sense that Bunny had grown up in the building. It was the most essential part of her life, being part of that building. And it was really not a surprise. And it was very reassuring to know that Bunny came to the role of being board president, kind of through the legacy of her mother, having been that. And that made perfect sense to me historically, why she was so attached and the nature of her attachment. I mean, she really felt quite entitled to say whatever she said to any tenant in the building, because, I mean, in a sense, she felt her a real kind of ownership and responsibility for the Arconia.
Considering that deep connection to the Arconia, it's hard to believe Bunny ever would have moved to Boca Raton like she talked about, right?
So we asked Ben what he thought.
Do you think that Bunny would have moved to Boca Raton if she had not been murdered?
I think it would have been something where she left and 1 week later she's back in the building and acting like nothing happened, and everyone's a little confused. Like, we threw a party for you, didn't we? Right. I feel like we all gave you presents and now you're back. I don't know what's going on.
Jayne, on the other hand, had a different take.
I think that Bunny would have gone ahead and taken a place there and split her time. Many New Yorkers retire take a place in Florida, spend the winter months and come back. But more to the point, I think your question is about whether she would, this means that she really was going to step down. And I think had things not played out the way they did, I think she would have continued to fight to stay on as board president until she was damn sure that whoever was going to take over was going to honor the historical integrity and beauty that is the Arconia.
And we're not sure if Bunny's successor, Nina Lynn, is planning to honor that.
This is about you holding the Arconia hostage until you're dead.
The Arconia still needs me.
No, you still need it. But we can't afford to wait. The Arconia needs to be brought into the 21st century.
What does that mean?
Made more efficient, modernized, monetized.
The building needs to be preserved. Nina, we talked about this. Or were you just saying what I wanted to hear?
Bunny decides she's not ready to give up her control over the Arconia just yet.
And Nina is not happy about that.
The only reason you're board president is because your mom was board president. Yet you can't fathom the idea of someone else being able to do what you do. You are so selfish and self-important and stuck in the past. You're a relic, Bunny. And I can't allow this building to become one too.
You have no idea what this job takes. The pressures I endure on a daily basis. I'm not going to let you get away with this.
I'm not going to let you stop me.
I mean, we wanted to have this tension about the idea of like, is Bunny holding the building back? And obviously, like, we're talking about the building and these ideas, different views that Nina and Bunny have. But I think we kind of like created this slight metaphor of like Bunny is the building. You know, she doesn't want to change. She's so set in her ways, but she has all this history and knowledge. And we wanted to like create this understanding that she knows New York, she knows the building, and that she's the only one who knows these things. And it's a question of whether or not that knowledge and that history is important anymore. I think we wanted to create like a genuine question of, what is better? Like, is it better to kind of like hold on to the past and the way things are and this, you know, broken elevator? But yeah, we have a broken elevator, but we have the one person who has the knowledge to fix it. And it's like, should we just get rid of this old elevator and put in a new one? You know, like, would that be better? But what do you lose?
The old and the new are very much a part of season 2.
Here's co-creator and showrunner Jayne Hoffman.
There's a lot of themes running through season 2, but one of them is the old and the new. In the old and new New York, old and new board presidents. You know, in episode 3, you're looking at Bunny and Nina, and Bunny is very on top of her successor and grooming her successor in the way that she's hoping she will carry on the job if she's going to step down.
Here's Jane's take on Nina.
I think Bunny really saw her as a protege. You know, I mean, I think they had what was a very engaged and rich communication about the seriousness of what it was to take care of the Arconia, etc. But I do think that Nina was kind of turns out, and Bunny realizes that Nina was kind of pandering to her, because actually her desire to be part of the Arconia is to evoke a lot of change there and assert her own power towards updating it and changing it and probably making changes to the building that would mar the historical value of the building, etc. No, it was a devastating blow and shocking to Bunny. And shocking to Bunny that she would be fooled by someone.
I think that's it right there.
You know, I mean, Bunny's a person who prides herself on being able to read everybody all the time.
Yeah. Oh, Nina.
Keener, you know who never would have betrayed Bunny?
Who?
Mrs. Gambolini.
Mrs. Gambolini. And Jane said that Mrs. Gambolini was a surprising addition to her character.
What was a wonderful surprise, and it added all sorts of dimension to her in my mind, was learning that she was a pet owner. And the fact that her pet happens to be an animal that can live up to 90 years, the kind of commitment that it takes to be that kind of pet owner, told me a great deal about a kind of more human side of Bunny than we were allowed to see in the first season.
Yeah.
I loved that. And Mrs. Gambolini has the same vocabulary
Right.
and world view that Bunny had. So in a sense, Bunny lives on.
There was a big internal debate in the writer's room about Mrs. Gambolini and like the degree to her sentience.
Here's Ben Smith again.
There was a version where the bird kind of narrates this episode. Like we wanted moments where the bird says certain snippets, but there had been like a version tossed around like, do we have the bird like truly narrate? And we're like, obviously that's like a degree of magical realism and that exists in our show, but how far do we go?
It was a huge honor to voice Mrs. Gambolini. Number one, because her dialogue is fantastic.
Yep.
But also, I'd never played a parrot before. And again, as I said, being a character actress, I always like a challenge. And those recording sessions, recording Mrs. Gambolini, were hysterical. They were really challenging because, it was like I was sitting there in front of a microphone, just like you guys are right now, and with a guy in the sound booth and several other people patched in from LA or New York or wherever, and saying, could you try that a little more parrot-like, but a little less, and okay, the parrot-like thing is good. We'll keep that. But now could you do it more like a parrot who is grieving? Oh, okay. Well, I'll try that.
Amazing.
Okay, now could you add a little more of a human voice to that? And it went on and on and on. I mean, it was very complex and understandably so, because who's ever thought of doing this before, other than John Hoffman conceiving of the parrot being voiced by his owner in her absence and speaking for her after she's dead.
Ben goes on to explain.
And so writing dialogue for the bird, we had like some fun constraints of like, these are things that either the bird has heard Bunny say, and what are like the fun, vulgar things that Bunny could have said, which also are like fun interjections considering the moment that our trio's having. But there were other things where it's like, I know who did it. I know who did it. We're like, okay, that's obviously a big line at the end of 2. What is the justification that this is a line that Mrs. Gambolini has heard before, and we have to contextualize that later? And actually I'm pretty sure it's a moment that the trio doesn't get an answer to. Like the trio does not know that that's from where that line is from, but the audience at least gets the answer. But that was another moment of like, oh, we want to show Bunny and the bird and their nightly routine and stuff like that. So it was fun to think of the things the bird could say and then have to work backwards. Like, okay, where did the bird learn that line?
All of that raises the question of how much of this episode is a factual retelling of Bunny's last day and how much of it is an imagined recreation by Charles, Oliver, and Mabel based on the papers and receipts they found in her apartment.
Yeah, I thought we were onto something with that question, KK, but per usual, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Everything we've seen is true. There are certain details, like obviously the final struggle, like those details our trio does not know, but they have the gist that Bunny died in a certain window and we were in a certain place during that time. There's always this tension of like, what does the audience know and what do our characters know? And you don't want that to be too disparate. And so what was important to us when writing it is that by the end of the episode, the most important things the audience and the characters know. And that's like, we understand the character differently. We care about the character. We have a few tangible suspects that we've gained from this examination of Bunny's day, from doing the work. But the audience definitely does know more and has seen more. And I think what we've seen visually is truthful.
So maybe no red herrings in there. You know what, though?
What?
We learn why Mrs. Gambolini said, I know who did it. But based on the ending of the episode, she really does know who did it.
Unless the killer was wearing a mask.
I don't think he was, because Bunny opens the door and says, what the fuck do you want? And that implies she knew the killer, right?
Yeah. Okay, yes. And didn't like them when they opened the door.
Well, she didn't like most people, but she did seem to be warming up to Charles, Oliver, and Mabel, right?
I know, yeah.
Just as like our trio over the course of our present day has gained new perspective on Bunny, I think the hope was that Bunny has gained a little bit of new perspective on her trio during her last day. There's just a level of appreciation that elsewhere she's not getting. Like, she feels betrayed by Nina. She feels discarded. She feels like a relic. And she also realizes that the three of these people did save the building. These are people that I don't dislike. They care about the building. They appreciate me. I appreciate my interactions with them. So at the end, when she's feeling very low and she hears them having a nice time, those are the people that she, to her surprise, would like to be with. And I think if she went in like a sad way, I do think she would have lived. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
that's sad. Poor Bunny.
Yeah.
Poor Bunny.
It was, it was a sad scene to write.
Oh, shit. Are we being too loud?
No, not too loud.
Mabel, who is... Oh, Bunny.
Charles, Oliver.
Hi.
If you're celebrating, you should have proper champagne. Something nicer than your bottom shelf blend.
Thank you so much.
Well, you saved the Arconia. Maybe through sheer dumb luck, but the result was the same. I don't think I've said it yet, so thank you.
Ah, Bunny, you're too kind. Oh, and we have a gift for you, too. There you are. Your very own merch. Try it on.
This is the last thing I want from you assholes.
Oh, come on.
Try it on.
All right.
It's a humbling moment for Bunny, but I think it's also potentially a very liberating one for her to be able to go to that door and knock on the door and offer a peace offering of a bottle of champagne. And it's a beautiful, vulnerable moment for the character, certainly. Had she been invited in,
what would happen?
I think she would have been so relieved to have been accepted by them that she probably would have ended up having a very good time, an honest good time. And I think sharing that bottle of champagne would have been terribly meaningful for her and a lot of fun.
Oh my God, she's crying.
Okay, seriously, what is going on with this woman? Did not peg Bunny for a whaler.
I love that edge. It's my favorite way to write and sort of find the edge right on the edge of, oh my God, I'm crying and I'm laughing and I'm crying and I'm laughing. And I think that's the part of the show I hope we can do in a unique way that, the best laughs I've ever had have been in places and times when you're not supposed to be laughing, at a funeral or at a church, or, like these are the times when, so right on the edge of, this is awful and it's insane and it's crazy what's happening. And how did we end up in this situation? How do we get out of it? And then you realize, okay, that was a human moment for all of us. And what happened afterwards is what's tragic.
Okay, now, before we get to the Whodunit Summit, did we get any clues this week?
Well, Jackie Hoffman did say something very interesting.
Okay. I'm not in episode 4 onward.
Oh!
But I am back for the finale.
Okay. Oh, good. Yippee. Well, all right, then. That's a good clue because, you're not there.
I'm going to write that down.
Maybe I got murdered.
That's a big clue.
Selena did it.
You know what time it is.
I do know what time it is. It's our favorite part of the show.
Yes, the Whodunit Summit. Woohoo! The second one of this season.
The second one, and this is where Keener and I write down who we think the murderer is, put it in an envelope, and seal it until right now.
Right, and now we're up to episode 3.
Yes.
So we did our guesses for the first 2, and now this is our second guess, and I'm super duper excited to show this one. So
Okay.
you want me to go first and you look at mine?
Yeah, I'll look at yours.
Okay, ready? So you're going to rip it. Okay, good luck.
And you have picked Alice, the gallery owner.
Yes, I think it's another crazy love interest.
You do?
Yes, I think, and I'll tell you why. I thought about this and I thought, who would be in Mabel's, like in her apartment? So, and how would they get there to kill Bunny? So I thought, wait a minute, maybe she went before she did the DMing.
Right.
She actually went there and she created the, Bloody Mabel and everything. She created that.
She got the hashtag going?
She got everything going, and now it's going to make her into the stratosphere and her gallery, but she does like her too. So it's not that, she's just another,
So you think she broke into the building and killed Bunny?
I don't even know if she broke in. I think maybe, she just she was able to go in, say hello. I want to see so and so. She was in there. She saw the mural, and she just was like, ooh, that's my guess. It went all the way from Poppy to Alice. I don't know. I'm all over the place right now.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens with that one. I'm not very confident in that. All right. Are you ready? Are you ready for mine?
Yes. Okay. Here we go. Oh, Ivan.
Yes, ooh. Ivan, the waiter from the diner when Bunny was eating. And I'll admit, I'm not super convinced on this one for me either. But I just feel like there's something there because even though she gave him a big tip, she seems to have seen him every day. So maybe he picked up things about the painting and how it was very valuable and about maybe the secret elevator. So maybe there's something there. So
that's a crusher then. Man, he's so nice to her and everything, and she wants him to get his DJ, 2 turntables and a microphone.
And a
microphone. Any of you who remember that. Oh my God. So that's cool.
Yeah, I think it might be one that it doesn't seem super obvious, but there could be something there.
We have both strayed off from what we originally thought completely. Okay, everyone, thanks for listening to Season 2, Episode 3 of Only Murders in the Pod. And if you're in the New York area this year, go catch Jayne Houdyshell and The Music Man on Broadway with Hugh Jackman. Tickets are scarce, but good luck.
And our inbox is open again. So please send over your thoughts and theories to onlymurders@strawhutmedia.com. And if you're enjoying the show, please leave us a rating and a review. It really helps people find the show.
Only Murders in the Pod is a production of Straw Hut Media, hosted by Elizabeth Keener, me, and Kevin Lawn.
Me.
Produced by Ryan Tillotson and Maggie Bowles. Associate producer is Stephen Markley. Original music by Kyle Merritt. And Only Murders theme music by Siddhartha Khosla. And a big thanks to John Hoffman, Xavier Salas, Luisa Moltini, and the entire Hulu team. Hey, KK, I think we're going to now look at some of our
fan mail.
Yes, I'm not going to call it listener mail. Okay, let's fan mail. I'm going to give it to you. And we have Sylvia. Hi, Sylvia. Thank you so much. And Sylvia's from Portugal.
Yes, and she has a pretty good guess about who killed Bunny. She thinks it's Howard, the cat guy.
Oh, yeah. That's actually a good one. He had a black eye for some reason. And what else did she was because of the cat, right? The cat fighting and all of that stuff. So that was good. Thanks, Sylvia. Yeah, that's great. I think that's a great guess.
And we have Alyssa, who is a Lawn Pond and a Keener cat. She's one of our top fans.
She is one of our top fans. Thank you so much. And who does she say?
She thinks it's Ursula, the gut milk lady.
Oh, I thought about that. And thank you, Allie, for being so observant because, go ahead, KK.
Well, she noticed that Bunny is walking Mrs. Gambolini instead of her dog in the opening credits.
Oh, who's this? How about this one?
Lena from Estonia. Estonia.
Hi,
Keener, we're international.
We are I said Portugal already, but hello. Okay. Watch the first 2 episodes, and who did you think it was?
So she thinks it was the murderer was at the wake.
Yeah.
And her guess is also Howard the cat guy.
Howard, too. I mean, everyone thinks it's Howard.
Well, he does have that black eye, which they still have not explained yet.
I know it. Well, they mentioned it was about some cat in the hutch falling on or something like that, but I didn't believe that either. So very interesting. A couple of Howards. And what was the other one? What did they guess? The third one? Forget it, KK. We don't even remember. It's okay. Wait. Oh, so we have a couple of Howards. KK, and we haven't done those. We did, again, ours was
we have a couple of Howards. We have some Ursulas.
Yeah, and the Ursulas. Yeah. This is exciting.
It is exciting.
It's all over the map. Oh. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, we just want to shout out to others who we didn't get to say, but thank you so much, you guys, for sending in your thoughts and emails to Sky and Valerie and Jennifer and everybody else. I mean, we will try and get to everybody. Joseph, yes, and everybody. We really appreciate you, and we're excited that you're listening for second season and you're watching.
I love hearing their opinions and why they think someone is the murderer.
Yeah, they really kind of flesh through it, don't they? They're really pretty. I mean, I don't know if they're intelligent. They seem it.
They have their thinking caps on.
They have their thinking caps on. Thanks, guys.
Okay. The embargo's been lifted.
They love us making fun of them. And now, wah outtakes of our blunders.
The bird is not, in fact, from The Sopranos. Speaking of birds.
Miss Gandolfini.
What was it like coming up with lines for Mrs. Gandolfini?
And Miss Gandolfini. How was that?